The assassin. You know I break necks, call me Jack Tate. I have no regrets while your life is fading. I'm a crazy fuck equivalent to Satan. When I'm behind the mic, I feel like the greatest. You know I break necks, call me Jack Tate. I have no regrets while your life is fading. I'm a crazy fuck equivalent to Satan. When I'm behind the mic, I feel like the greatest.
What up, y'all? You're listening to Sports Talk with Tropp, and I'm your host, Katie Tropp. Well, we had 2 Monday Night Football games, and one went down to the wire and was an excellent game. The other was pretty much just one team dominating the whole way through. So, started out with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Houston Texans, and Tampa was pretty much dominating this game for the most part. They had the lead for the majority of the way. Houston was able to pull away and get the lead in the fourth quarter. But then Tampa, they had about a minute-ish left on the clock. And, I was looking at it. I was like, you better watch out because Baker Mayfield's on the other side. And that dude noticed how to make a comeback. He already made a comeback in week 1. So you leave him enough time on the clock, and he might make some things happen. And that is exactly what happened. Baker Mayfield drove them right down the field. They ended up scoring, and Tampa Bay ended up getting the win 20-19. I will say, this was all defense from both sides of the ball. I mean, Baker Mayfield was getting his ass beat. C.J. Stroud was getting his ass beat. And, I already had an issue with the Houston Texans ground attack, which has been terrible. But their offensive line is absolutely awful. C.J. Stroud is going to be lucky if he makes it through the season without an injury, because he is going to be running for his life. He was already running for his life in this past game. And it's not about to get easier with him, because I believe they go to Jacksonville this week. And Jacksonville's actually got one of the top defenses so far. So look out for that. But other than getting sacked the entire game and running for his life, Baker Mayfield did go for 25 for 38 with 215 yards and 2 touchdowns. And this Tampa Bay offense really, they were able to get going when they were able to get going. But Baker was running for his life for a good portion of this game, as was C.J. Stroud. Then the second game was the Los Angeles Chargers at the Las Vegas Raiders, and it was all Chargers all night. Justin Herbert went 19 for 27, 242 yards and 2 touchdowns in a 20-9 win over the Raiders. And Geno Smith had a terrible-ass game. He had 3 interceptions. Came right out the gate, and literally the first play from scrimmage, he drops back to pass, and ball it's about to be intercepted. It tips off of the guy who was going to intercept the ball, and then just tips right off into somebody else's hands. And the Chargers just get right out the gate, 7 points, and just really never look back from there, which it wasn't really shocking to me, because the Raiders, I feel like, are going to struggle a lot on offense. So far, Ashton Janty, he hasn't really done anything in these first 2 games, and he's a rookie, so he's gonna have some growing pains. But the Las Vegas Raiders did not look good at all, but the Chargers looked pretty solid in that one. All right, so moving on to the Top 10 NFL Power Rankings for this week, a little bit more shaped out, and a few teams still up there, of course, and then the top 3 is pretty much the top 3 that it was last week. So let's get right into the Top 10 NFL Power Rankings for this week. Number 1 being the Buffalo Bills, 2-0 on the season, and they really look like the most complete team. Right now, they lead the league with 5 forced fumbles, so they're getting it done on the defensive side of the ball. They're really containing the run as well, and then you turn to the offensive side of the ball. Not only is Josh Allen the reigning MVP and looking to have yet another MVP-type season, you've got Cook in the backfield, who, game 1 was all Josh Allen on offense. Game 2 was all Cook on offense. So it's really nice to have that balance for them. And so they're looking like a very complete team. And so I couldn't drop them down at all, because they still look damn good. They're scoring a lot of points, and they just look like a very, very complete team. Then at number 2 on my Top 10 NFL Power Rankings are the Philadelphia Eagles. They are 2-0 on the season. And they're really looking slow on the offensive side of the ball. Now, as I said the same thing last week, and I pretty much said it all last season, and it didn't really seem to be a big difference last season, obviously, because they won the Super Bowl. So it just obviously depends on things. But It's just there's been something about their offense that just really hasn't looked like it's been able to be explosive, especially in the passing game. The ground attack has had no issues, but the passing game has had issues. And we'll see how that develops as the season wears on. But hey, they're still the Super Bowl champs. They're 2-0. And even though the offense is moving slow, who the fuck cares? They're still winning. Then at number 3 on my Tropp 10 NFL power rankings of the Green Bay Packers, overall record of 2-0, and they have an explosive offense and a solid defense as well. They are looking like a complete team at this point in time, at least. Jordan Love has been unstoppable on the offensive side of the ball. And then you turn to the defensive side of the ball, and they've been very, very stout on the defensive side of the ball. They are also looking like a very complete team and just look really, really good, at least up to this point in the season. Then at number 4 on my Tropp 10 NFL power rankings is the Baltimore Ravens, overall record of 1-1. And this is another team that I feel like is just looking like a very complete team. Lamar Jackson, 6 TDs on the season already. So he's having a phenomenal year and just looking like he's ready to take over. Zay Flowers looking explosive. DeAndre Hopkins making big plays. And then, of course, you've got Derrick Henry in the backfield, stout offensive line, solid defense. It's just the Baltimore Ravens, I feel like, are one of the best teams in the league, even though they're 1-1. But that's because they went right up against a bowl in the Buffalo Bills. And guess what? They've got a big game coming up on Monday against the Detroit Lions, too. So it doesn't get any easier for them. But that's what you want when you are a good team. You need to prove it against good teams. And so far, even though the Ravens have one loss, it was barely a loss. They could easily be 2-0 and at the top of this power rankings if they were 2-0. Then at number 5 on my Tropp 10 NFL power rankings of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, overall record of 2-0. And, it's just really Baker Mayfield has just completely turned this offense around. They've got a lot of explosive weapons, but this dude, especially when it comes to crunch time. Like, I just feel like this team is never out of it. That's why when they got the ball back with about, I think it was 58 seconds, I was like, dude, that's a lot of time for Baker. If this guy just gets chunk plays, which he's great at doing, he's definitely, and he gives no fucks too. He will run when he has to run. He will hold the ball. He will take the big hits because he always takes the big hits, and it doesn't matter. And then he has some really solid wide receivers. Mike Evans, one of the best red zone receivers in the history of the league, straight up. Then you turn to the ground attack with Rachaad White. He's a solid running back. And then the offensive line, even though they did not have a good game, a lot of that is just because they suffered an injury at the beginning of the game and lost their big guy on the offensive line. So that might have played a role. Also, the Houston Texans defense is insane, especially on the pass rush. But then you turn to the defensive side of the ball as well with the Tampa Bay Bucks, and they are a silent killer. They are on it. They had C.J. Stroud running for his life, and then you take a look at the secondary. They're able to lock it down and make some big plays as well. So I look at this Tampa Bay Bucks team, and they are in a terrible-ass division too. So they might get a lot of wins, and it's going to be because they are in an awful division. And also a good team as well. Then at number 7 on my Tropp 10 NFL power rankings, number 6 on my Tropp 10 NFL power rankings of the Los Angeles Chargers, overall record of 2-0. And they are looking really good out the gate as well, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Justin Herbert's having a flawless couple of games to start. But one thing I will say about this Chargers team that has me worried, but maybe able to develop as the season goes on, I feel like they don't have a ground game. They don't really have a standout running back just yet, but maybe that's because they're pretty much no names right now, and maybe as the season wears on, somebody will take the starting position, take the starting role, and really go with it. But other than that, though, this team looks really good. They did get some bad news. Khalil Mack is going to be out for at least the next 4 games. It looks like he dislocated his elbow. So they're going to be missing him on the defensive side of the ball, which really sucks because their defense has been stout as well. So we'll see if that affects them. But right now the Chargers are looking like one of the top teams. And they need to hang on to that because in their division, they've got the Kansas City Chiefs, and right now they've got a really nice lead on them. And if they just keep pushing away, they're going to need to do that because the Chiefs can get rolling at any time. Then at number 7 on my Tropp 10 NFL power rankings of the Los Angeles Rams, overall record of 2-0. And I look at this team, and they are really hot on the offensive side of the ball. And they've got a lot of veterans as well. So you look at it, they've got Stafford, who's one of the top quarterbacks in the league, and you really just can never count him out. Then you've got Devontae Adams, who really broke out in week 2. Had his best game, went over 100 yards, really made some big plays. You got Puka Nacua, who had a great game in week 1. So you got these two number 1 receivers. Then you also have Williams in the backfield, and so I just look at this offense. They are very explosive. But then the defensive side of the ball, they are young and hungry, and they could get at the quarterback. They could cause some turnovers, and it looks like they're going to cause a lot of ruckus this season. Then at number 8 on my Tropp 10 NFL Power Rankings of the Detroit Lions, overall record of 1-1. In the first week, they looked very weak on the offensive side of the ball. But hey, that might have just been week 1 jitters. Week 2 was a completely different story. They actually went off for 6 touchdowns total in this last game. And Jared Goff actually had 5 of those touchdowns. So when he's on, he's on. And I really didn't expect week 1 to be the Lions that we see. I actually expect this week 2 team that we saw to be the Lions that we see throughout the rest of the season. I mean, they didn't look like they lost a step on the offensive side of the ball. Now we'll see what happens defensively because the secondary tends to get blown up. But hey, who knows? Maybe they'll shore that up as the season wears on. Then at number 9 on my Tropp 10 NFL Power Rankings, a team I don't know about, but here they are. That is the Indianapolis Colts. They are 2-0 on the season. They've been very impressive on the offensive side of the ball. As a matter of fact, they have not even punted the ball yet. So that's a great thing. Also, haven't even had a turnover. Taylor has had a solid year to start these last couple of games. But it's really all about Daniel Jones. He's finally getting his start with the Indianapolis Colts, and he's really looking good the first 2 games. We'll see if the typical Daniel Jones appears as the season wears on. Like I said, I don't know about this Indianapolis Colts team, but at the same time, they're in a terrible division. Anybody could take this division, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens with the Colts, if they're real, if they're fake. 2 weeks doesn't make a season, but they have started out pretty hot, and it's undeniable at this point, so I had to talk about them in the Tropp 10 this week. And then rounding out the Tropp 10 NFL Power Rankings for this week, there were a lot of teams to choose from, so I just decided to go with my Dallas Cowboys, 1-1 on the season, and it's just because, it's my Tropp 10, so I could do whatever I want. But I will say, it's nice to see that they finally have a running game. That's what I really like about this team. The offensive line looks stout, and they've got a lot of weapons for Dak to get at in this offense. So I'm really looking forward to what this offense has to offer. It's just the defense. They keep getting blown up in the secondary, but I kind of feel like as the season wears on, the defense is going to get stronger. We just signed Jadeveon Clowney, so that's going to shore up the pass rush just a bit. But it's the secondary that I'm really worried about. Bland looks like he's going to be out probably another couple of weeks. They don't really have a timeline, but I would imagine he's probably going to be out another week or 2 at least. And then you've got Diggs, who's coming back from an ACL injury, so he's going to get stronger as the season goes on. And then you got to look at it too. Cowboys are getting Overshown back, and he's coming off of an ACL injury. Not really sure when they're going to get him back, but they should have him back probably in the next month or 2. So this defense is going to get better as the season wears on. But the Cowboys offense, I really have no worries about. I feel like they're going to be one of the top offenses in the league this year. Moving on to our Thursday night football matchup this week, we have us a division rivalry, which is usually a good matchup, but I don't think that's going to be the case this week. We have the Miami Dolphins at the Buffalo Bills, and right now the Bills are a 12.5-point favorite, which doesn't shock me at all because the Bills have pretty much blown everybody out of the water. I mean, they've scored a lot of points. Their first game, of course, was close, but I mean, this last game, they just came right out the gate and boom. Just went everywhere. And, Josh Allen's having a great season to start. Cook is having a great season to start. The defense is having a great season to start. But then you turn to the Miami Dolphins, and they are having a terrible season to start. Their offense, they were able to get going in week 2, but week 1 was awful. And I really have not believed in the Dolphins. I didn't think they were going to be a good team this year. And I feel like that their struggles are going to continue into this game, especially because Buffalo is healthy. Buffalo is looking solid right now. Buffalo is looking good in every single way, shape, and form, where usually the Dolphins play the Bills well. And I just don't think that's going to be the case in this matchup. I just kind of feel like the Dolphins are going to get owned from the beginning, and I have the Bills winning this one big, 28-17. I really only have the 17 points on the board. Basically, Miami scoring in garbage time is basically when I have them scoring, but I feel like it's going to be all Buffalo all night, even though usually that matchup tends to be a good matchup, but Miami has shown me nothing. So, and Buffalo's shown me how good they are, at least so far. And I don't think Miami's going to be able to compete with them on Thursday night. Moving on to the AP Top 10 college football rankings for this week. A few movements, but for the most part, it's pretty much the same top three for sure. But we do have a new team at the bottom here as well. So number one still remains Ohio State. They are 3-0 on the season. Number two remains Penn State. They are also 3-0 on the season. And number three is LSU, who's also 3-0 on the season. Then we have number four, Miami. They are 3-0 on the season. And I got to say, Miami's offense looks like one of the best offenses in the league. I actually feel like this is a year that the Miami Hurricanes actually are a legit, like, national championship contender. I mean, last year I felt like they were on the bubble, but this year they have a spectacular offense. And if they just keep moving in this direction that they're moving in, I feel like we could potentially see Miami in the national championship game. Then at number five, we have Georgia 3-0, and they had an insane game against Tennessee over the weekend. They were down, I believe, 24, 28 points. They were down by a lot, and they made a furious comeback in the second half. I believe mostly the fourth quarter, put it into overtime, and they actually ended up walking away with the win. So big win for Georgia. Then at number six, we have Oregon. They're 3-0 on the season. Number seven, Florida State, 2-0 on the season. Number eight, Texas, 2-1 on the season. Number nine, Illinois, 3-0 on the season, and they will be playing Indiana, who's ranked number 19 this week. So we'll see if Illinois is actually for real or not this week. And then rounding out the college football top 10 this week is a team that jumped up 6 spots this week, a team that I figured was actually going to pull the upset this weekend, and that is Texas A&M. They are 3-0 on the season, and they actually ended up beating Notre Dame over the weekend, which I thought they were going to do. They pushed Notre Dame to the brink and actually walked it off with the game-winning field goal. But A&M, I don't think they're like an amazing team, but at the same time, I had a feeling if Notre Dame overlooked them, that Texas A&M was going to walk in there and get the win, and that is exactly what Texas A&M did. All right, y'all, enjoy the rest of the week of sports, and I will talk to you fools on Friday.